Jonathan from 10 till 11:30 Saturday. Right, listen to this. This is done locally. This is awesome. This is the Holy Road. So I look at the credits to this CD, locally done in Northamptonshire, in Kettering and Abbey Road. This is seriously cool. But I look at the liner notes and they say that on this, he sings, programs and sequences the drum machines and synths, plays the upright piano, the omnichord, acoustic guitars, harmonium, glockenspiel, electric guitars, bass, dulcimer and drums. I just sit here and talk rubbish every day and he's like doing all of that. With a record out at the weekend, the man behind the Holy Road is Jonathan Stolber. Hi Jonathan.
Good morning.
It's a real pleasure to talk to you. The sound that you've achieved on this, the layers of sound blows my mind. Is it hours in the studio building it up brick by brick?
It is funny you should say that because I can't physically listen to the record anymore because I've obviously heard it so many times. So it's very strange hearing it play back because when you're obviously making your record yourself, you have to listen to everything about 1,000 times every day. So basically it's a very, very slow process.
Have you got your own studio? Because if you're hiring time in someone else's studio, you're going to be bankrupt, my friend.
You're not wrong. Well, I mean, it's an interesting story with that. So basically a couple of years ago, I was in a Northampton band called To Bury a Ghost, and we actually recorded a record with Russ Russell from Kettering, who's most famous for recording people like Napalm Death. And basically the experience of like working with him, it was the only way I can really describe it is the closest to working with a magician. So it's basically like making something from nothing. It was just extraordinary. And I sort of came to the conclusion that musicians and producers are basically the modern equivalent of magicians. And there was a lot that I didn't like about being in a band, but one thing I really loved was the actual process of recording the music. So I basically, what I took from that experience was I need to teach myself how to produce records. So I went away from that band and spent a couple of years basically just trying to teach myself how to do it myself.
It's the possibilities of studio that I think are so interesting, how you can still, in 2021, experiment and push the envelope. It's amazing.
It is. What's interesting about is technology. There's a lot of negative things about technology, social media, and actual how technology is going forward, but there's also a lot of positives. So if you look at like the Beatles, obviously they were limited by like 4 tracks and they were trying to mash as much onto that 4 tracks as possible. But now with technology, you quite literally have an entire orchestra available at your fingers. You have limitless tracks, and in many ways, because you have so many options, it's almost debilitating because the only thing you're limited by now is your own imagination. And that's basically where we've got with technology.
I think synthesizers can sound cold. If you listen to the Kraftwerk records, those krautrock things from the 70s, then that was the whole point. They sounded disconnected. But you put in real instruments, and you enhance the mechanisms, if you like. It's got real soul, your stuff. I love it.
Well, for me, it was everything I've all done was all guitar based. It was all straightforward rock. So obviously stepping foot into the analog world, basically what was really important to me was get away from guitar straight to synthesizers. So it was quite bizarre for me actually putting a record out that has almost no guitar in it at all. It is virtually all synth based.
Is it?
Yes, it is indeed, yes.
And I can hear Muse, Newman, Cocteaus, Orchestra
Yeah.
Manoeuvres, Michael Nyman, Tim Buckley. Will you take any of them?
Yeah, I'm a big Jeff fan, big Buckley fan. I think first time I ever heard Jeff Buckley, it just it sort of changed how I approach singing, really. And obviously, if you're a fan of Jeff Buckley, you immediately go investigate his dad, Tim. So yeah, I love Tim Buckley as well. Definitely, it's that the falsetto, I think.
And you call it art rock and electronic mashup.
Yeah, it's a very eclectic mix. It's difficult what to label it with, really. I mean, what was important for me is having a track list where it does transcend genre. So we do have the art rock, and then it goes to straight electronica, sort of warp era electronica, and then you've got a lot of prog rock elements in there, just to keep things fresh, really.
How challenging is it now to get your music out there? Because it's one thing to make it, now you've got to get people to hear it, haven't you, Jonathan?
It's it's quite an existential thing, really, nowadays, because obviously you have the rise of the internet, which is brilliant. Basically, it took out the middleman, i.e., distribution. So everyone can now. It's easy to distribute your record. You just put it online. But then you've got this strange malaise where everyone is making records now. So the market is completely saturated, and it's been really bizarre for me putting this record out, because the last time I put a record out was like 7 or 8 years ago, and to say that the way that music works now is completely changed would be an understatement. I mean, when I last put a record out, it was a case of sending out physical records and then emailing people, and then you get immediate response. But now I think writers are being inundated with music just non-stop. So it is really, really difficult to actually break through now. So I think as a musician, you have to sort of change what your goals are. So really, in turn, you have to sort of reevaluate what success is. And I think personally, it's more important just focusing on the actual records you're making, and then hopefully people will follow your mission. But yeah, for me, the most important thing is not so much old school success. It's more about actually making something you're proud of.
Try and get it to TV and film producers, because it's very filmic. Hans Zimmer is flavour du jour, and your work's on a par.
Yes, yes. I mean, oh wow, thank you very much. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Hans Zimmer fan. I think in many ways, I am actually like a frustrated soundtrack producer.
Are you?
I think that in many ways, I can see moving forward. I'm sort of thinking that might be the direction I go in. It is because when I was making this record, I was attempting to put a track list together that sort of encapsulated the lockdown, really. And in many ways, I was thinking of it as like a soundtrack to a film that doesn't really exist. So moving forward, I think is definitely, say for instance, my old band, it was about bombast. I would say this new solo venture is more about mood. Definitely, that would be the difference, I would say.
And you very kindly sent it to me on CD, but you, like me, you're a vinyl man, aren't you?
I am a vinyl man. Sadly, it's a terrible addiction.
It is, and there's no help, I'm afraid, Jonathan.
There is no help.
You're in the queue at Spun Out on Record Store Day. You're up at 4:30, aren't you, for that?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you're a lightweight, my friend. You're a lightweight. You're a lightweight.
I know. I saw you at the front of the queue. I think both Record Store Days you've been ahead of me.
Lightweight.
But the main thing is you get everything you want, don't you? You got everything you wanted.
Yeah, and it's a good vibe, isn't it? That's the thing. It's a bit like being part of a gang, because it's a freakish hobby, collecting, multiple copies of the same record. It's ridiculous. But you're with people who understand it,
It is. Well, I mean, as an independent musician, the actual vinyl thing's quite an interesting subject to discuss, really, because what we're actually going through at the moment is akin to like the old gold rush that happened. So basically, I don't know if the general public are aware of the problems there are, but basically there is like there's a whole set of factors which have all come into play. So you've got actual physical demand for vinyl as basically doubled in the last 2-3 years, but at the same time there is actual PVC shortage globally. Then you've got the fact that all vinyl printing factories basically closed in the 1990s. So the actual skill of producing vinyl There's not many people out there that actually can do it. And at the same time, because of the actual lockdown itself, basically audiences really want to support independent music. So the actual demand has gone up because people basically want to support independent musicians by buying the vinyl. So what's actually happening now is when you try and order, you put an order in as an independent musician for your vinyl, you've actually got a 12-month wait at the moment.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the majors are block booking everything, aren't they? It's ABBA's fault, really, isn't it, Jonathan? That's what it is at the moment.
It is.
It's ABBA's fault.
Who is this ABBA? Who is this ABBA you talk of?
They're pressing everything. Well, it's very good.
They are.
And you,
but also, I mean, they're also pressing 12 of everything, and I think that's the major problem. Is the major labels. I mean, I think it was Wolf Alice, and I love Wolf Alice, but their last album, I think there was 12 different color variants that came out, so it exasperates the problem, really.
Well, at the moment it's CD. Where can people get it from? And they can download, of course, if people do the download.
Yeah, so it will be across all streaming services as of tomorrow. And the main portal website is theholyroad.co.uk, so you can navigate to everything from the website. But Chris from Spun Out will have the CD, and when the vinyl lands, which I think I'm expecting in the next sort of month, Chris will Spun Out will also be having the vinyl for sale.
Very good. So nip down.
God bless Spun Out.
God bless. Where would we be without Spun Out? Where would we be?
Exactly. Hero, Chris.
So nip down Gold Street next month. In the meantime, if you go to the Holy Roads website, you're looking for An Unshakable Demon to find that. And that's all the muso stuff. The important question now, how's Fee-Bear, your cat?
Oh, he's actually snoring right now.
How old is Fee-Bear?
Is snoring. 21.
Unbelievable. He's 21-year-old cat.
We actually think he might be a Terminator.
Fee-Bear, your only cat?
He is now, unfortunately, yes. He's the last cat to survive lockdown.
Well, didn't you get home last night and there was a new one waiting at your door?
There was a cat last night. I think that they can smell the food, I think.
They can. They really can. Well, it's nice talking to you, Jonathan. I'll play
and you too.
Second track of 6 from the Unshakable Demon EP. This is coming up for air from the Holy Road.
Thanks so much, Bernie.
See what I mean? Muse, huh? It's great. I was laying down between my speakers last night, letting that soak over me. I love it. Jonathan Stolber, his name, making music as the Holy Road. An Unshakable Demon is the EP. There's coming up for air.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker.